For those of you that are new to the channel, my name is Mike Everson. I'm a manual osteopath, registered massage therapist, and yoga teacher in Halifax, Canada. And in this video, I'm going to show you guys how to perform an Indian head massage based on the text from thousands of years ago. This is one of the first massage sequences that was ever recorded, and I still think that it's one of the best feeling massages that you can get. And it's great for professionals and also beginners alike. If you guys want to learn more, check the link in the description below, but let's get into the video. The first thing you want to do is make sure that the person that's sitting down doesn't have a necklace on and they don't have any jewelry on their wrists. And also you want to make sure that their legs aren't crossed and that their feet are firmly planted on the floor. Before you start the massage, you want to place your hands on the person's head and then get them to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and slowly out through the nose. This is really nice to bring people down and to also help bring them into their body, and it helps to ground you and the person that's seated. And it's a great way to start the massage and get the person to really get into their body, and they're gonna feel the subtleties of the massage a little bit better. At this point, if you're a barber, usually you can take a spray bottle and spray some water on the person's hair, which will help, especially if someone has thick hair. It's really gonna help with the scalp massage. And if you're an esthetician, you can use something like sesame oil, which is traditional, or coconut oil as well. But for this demonstration, I'm just gonna do it dry. To start the massage portion, you can take the heels of your hands, and then on either sides of the shoulders, you can do this nice little roll. This is a great way to start the treatment. And a little tip is that if you do it for under 30 seconds, it'll be more stimulating. And if you do it for more than 30 seconds, it'll be more of a relaxing technique. So if you see that the person that's on the chair is a little more stressed out, you can do it for a little bit longer, which is more relaxing. And if there's someone who is a little bit sluggish, maybe they need a little bit of energy, you can just do it for under 30 seconds and it will help to stimulate their nervous system. After you've gone in and warmed up the tissue, it's really nice to do a little bit of a squeeze on the upper traps. We hold a lot of tension and stress in this area. So all I'm doing here is I'm placing my hand on her shoulder, very reassuring, comforting touch, and then I'm taking my thumb and I'm just providing a little bit of a squeeze to the ever tight upper traps. And you could follow that all the way along into the sides of the shoulder. Next up, you want to do what is a classic kind of acupressure area in most cultures. And what we're going to do is right here in the upper traps, we're going to press our thumb in on both sides and just press, so you're pressing in, slowly sinking in, and then just hold it there. And usually after about 60 to 90 seconds, you're gonna feel that it's gonna start to kind of like melt or relax underneath your thumb. And what you can do also is provide just like some subtle little circles in that area, and that will also help to relax the tissue. This is really nice, and also a common trigger point area for people. A lot of people with tension headaches, this is gonna be the spot that relates into those tension headaches. Place your hand on the shoulder. And with this one, what I'm gonna do is with the heel of my hand, I'm gonna squeeze the upper traps and bring Shelby forward here. So place your hand down, do this on both sides, and then take the heel of your hand and kind of squeeze, and you're rolling the shoulders forward, so you're approximating or shortening that tissue. So I'm taking her upper traps and I'm squeezing and bringing her forward, and then just hold that for 30 to 60 seconds. You can even do some little circles with the heels of your hands in the upper traps, and that helps to really relax the client and relax the muscle tissue. And after 30 to 60 seconds, you can slowly ease off and relax your hands. After pulling the tissue forward, this time we're gonna pull the tissue back. Once again, do this on both sides. Place 2 fingers just on the upper traps here, and then your thumb on the back. And then what you're gonna do is you're gonna kind of grab the tissue like this, and then roll the shoulders back. And you could hold this for 30 to 60 seconds. And then what you can also do is, as you're holding this technique, you can slowly start to glide down the upper trap muscles where it's going to get a little bit thinner, and you're going to start to feel that you're on top of the bone with the back with your thumb here, and just hold that while you're pulling them back. And as you're going towards the end of the shoulder, you're just making sure that you're always moving backwards, and that helps to stretch out this tense area. Next up, we're going to embrace our inner beat maker, drummer, by doing some tapotement on the shoulders. This is really nice for bringing blood to the surface, and it's also going to help to relax the area. What you're going to do is take the heels of your hands, and then you're just going to provide this consistent motion. And you're going to do this for more than 30 seconds if you can, and that will make it a little more relaxing. You can kind of follow it from the base of the shoulder right here and go across. Make sure that when you're in this area where it's a little bit meaty, you can provide a little more pressure, and then as you go and move to the side, you can ease off a bit. If you find it difficult to maintain that kind of consistency and provide that, you can also do it with one hand, which is another traditional way of doing it. So you can place your hands like this, and then you can kind of go on the shoulder and provide a little bit of a deeper kind of tapotement. But you have to make sure that when you do this, you follow it across and you do both sides. Next up is the shoulder stretch. You want to make sure with this one that you can get the person's hair out of the way as much as possible. And what you're going to do is place your hands on both shoulders, and then you're going to sink in slowly into the upper traps and shoulders, and then you're going to pull away to the side, and you're providing a stretch to the shoulders, so you're pulling like this. So sink in slowly, and then pull the shoulders to the side and provide a stretch. Another way of doing this that's really nice, and I find a little bit easier to do when someone's seated, is you can do a cross hand stretch. So you can place your hand on one shoulder and then your hand on the other shoulder. And what you're doing here is you're taking your arm to kind of get the hair out of the way, and then provide a little bit of a cross hands, sink in slowly, kind of work with their breath, and then pull to the side, providing a little bit of a stretch to the shoulders. And you can hold this for a minute. After we've done the shoulder stretch, now you're going to do a pec stretch. Good way of doing this is kind of anchoring the side of your body on their head like this, and then taking your hands and kind of grabbing across the pecs here. And so you're pulling back like this, and then bringing them back slightly against your body. And this is a great way to stretch out the pecs, especially with screens nowadays. So much of us are rounded forward. So to take the pecs and just give them a really nice stretch like this in the seated position feels really, really great. To start off massaging the neck, you can place your hand on their forehead and then kind of lift their hair out of the way. And then with your two fingers, your thumb and this finger here, you're just going to do some kind of circular kneading just in the base of the skull right here. So get the hair out of the way as much as possible. And then you're just providing a little bit of circular kneading at the base of the skull and down either side of the cervical spine. This is definitely a favorite for people. It's really relaxing. You can even just place your fingertips on the base of the skull and hold there for a while. Make sure that as you're doing this, that you're not pressing too hard on the forehead. You're just using it as an anchor to make sure that their head isn't moving around a lot when you're doing the kneading with your fingertips. Doing a traction of the cervical spine, the spine and the neck, feels really amazing. So what you're going to do is make sure that you're not contacting or going over the ear, although you can. It's just a little more comfortable if you don't. And then go quite low. And then what you're going to do here is you're just gonna lift the head up. So you're kind of on the base of the skull, you can feel that a little bit. And then you're just gonna lift up, and that helps to traction the spine a little bit. And you could hold this for 15 to 20 seconds, and it's just a little bit of relief and feels really nice. Starting off with the scalp, provide some nice scalp stimulation. So I find with barbers especially, you'll notice that they'll go really fast and just kind of move throughout the scalp. And it's a really nice way of energizing the body. And there's so many blood vessels and little nerve endings in the scalp that we sometimes forget, and head massage can be often neglected. And that's why it feels so good. And it's really great for stimulating the hair follicles. You can take the person's head and kind of bring them back against your body and make sure that they're comfortable. And then what you're gonna do here is some circular motions in the scalp. And this feels really, really nice. And you could do this for 30 to 60 seconds. And a really nice technique that I like as well is you can do these kind of frictions up and down. This is a classic kind of Indian head massage technique. So you're just taking the heels of your hands just right here, and on both sides you're just kind of going up and down like that. So place the heels of your hands down on the sides, and just a nice stimulatory technique. This is actually really good for anyone who has jaw issues, because the muscle here, the temporalis, can get really tight. And when there's a lack of blood flow to it and it gets really tense and the fascia is tense, it can actually lead to jaw tension and issues as well. And now we're gonna do some scalp plucking. So with this one, you wanna have a soft landing and a quick takeoff. So basically you're taking your fingertips and you're just doing these plucks. You want to make sure that when you're kind of hitting the scalp, that you've got a little bit of a soft touch. You're not kind of like smashing into their head. You're just kind of pulling off and providing some nice little plucks. This is maybe a little more aggressive than some of the other techniques, but it feels really nice and a great way to stimulate the scalp. Now we're going to do some hair stroking. If you've ever wondered what your cat or dog feel like, this is probably going to be the closest thing. So what you can do is start at the top of the head, and then really quite gently, you're just kind of stroking down the hair. And you could do this faster, slower, depending if you want the person to be more stimulated or relaxed. And you're just following it all the way down from the top of the head down to the bottom of the hair. Now for some facial and scalp tapping. This looks kind of silly, but it feels really, really nice. So you're going to try to maintain a consistent flow as you're doing this. So start at the forehead, and you can take all your fingertips, 3, 4, whatever you're more comfortable with, and just tap. You don't want to tap too hard, but you want to make sure that you're stimulating and relaxing all of these muscles. So start at the forehead, and then you could work your way down the temples. That's really nice for easing off any tension in that area. And you can even go into the jawline and do some little taps there. And then move up into the scalp and do some taps along the entirety of the head. I always like to finish by going on the jaw and stopping at the top of the jawline. After we've done that really stimulatory technique, it's nice to bring someone down with a very relaxing head squeeze. So what you're going to do is kind of bring the hair back a bit, and then on either side of the head, just take your palms like this. And then you're just going to move your shoulders like this so it's not too much strain on your muscles. And then you're just going to squeeze in gently. And you could hold this for 30 seconds. This is a really nice grounding technique. And it's great for balancing both sides of the head. And then after you feel like there's some relaxation, you can gently come out of it and allow your hands to kind of slowly move off of the head. Another very grounding and relaxing technique is to do some circular kneading on the temples. This is good for anyone who has tension headaches as well. So once again, place their head against your body, and then you can place your heels of your hands on the temples, and then pretty gently, you're just doing this nice, even, pretty slow circular motion. And you want to make sure that this one's really relaxing, and that's why I'm moving quite slowly. If you feel like you want to provide a bit more pressure, that's up to you. Try to use the meaty part of your hand to make sure that it's as easy and relaxing for the client as possible, and there's no kind of bone on bone type of situation. This area, the tissue is quite thin, so you want to make sure that it's quite comfortable for them. And you can just do this nice circular kneading for a minute or two. It's really nice to finish the treatment with some face massage. So place their head against your body for stabilization, and then you can just do some nice wipes on the forehead to the side. This is really good for the frontalis muscle here. When it gets really tense, especially if you live in a sunny climate, a lot of times there is quite a bit of tension in this really thin muscle, and it can actually lead to headaches. So place your fingertips down and then spread out to the side and follow it into the scalp. You can even do some nice circular kneading in the temporalis muscle on the side of the forehead. And then just follow that up, do it a couple of times. You can also lift up, so you can kind of take your hands like this and then lift the forehead up into the scalp. You could do that a couple of times. A really nice one is to kind of trace along the eyebrows. It can be really relaxing, especially if anyone has eye tension or they've been staring at screens a lot, they have any type of eye strain. You can even go up from the top of the nose and work your way around the eyebrow. And then you could follow it down into the jaw and just do a nice little stroke up the jawline. This will be great for anyone who has jaw tension. And make sure you follow your strokes all the way to the end. I find that way they're a little more relaxing. So you can start here and then kind of go along the jaw and then up through this masseter muscle, which is one of your main chewing muscles, and then follow it all the way into the scalp and around the ear. And this one feels so good that I like to do it a couple of times. And then once you're around the ear, you can take your fingers like this and kind of like a scissors motion and just provide a little bit of a massage around the ear as well. You can even go into the earlobes if they don't have earrings on and just provide a little bit of a rub and a little bit of a traction on the earlobes, and that feels really nice, especially if someone has any type of sinus issues or anything that is causing their ears to be stuffed up. And then just finish off once again by doing the sequence one more time. So just wiping to the side, going up the jawline. You can even go underneath, and this is really nice for the sinuses, kind of along those cheekbones, and lift up. And you can do this faster. I just tend to work quite slow, so I like to make it really like relaxing for people. But I do know some people who go a little bit faster, and that feels really fantastic as well. to finish the treatment, do some nice fingertip kneading on the scalp. And make sure you follow that all the way around. And then you can do some nice brushing of the scalp as well, and just brushing out all the hair so they don't look so ridiculous at the end. This is really relaxing, just nice and gentle, just some nice little stroking. Bringing a hot towel to the end of the treatment also feels so fantastic. What you can do is just run some warm water under a towel, place it in the microwave for a couple of seconds, just heat it up. And then just what you're gonna do is kind of lift their hair out of the way a bit and then just place it on their shoulders. You can also take the hot towel and kind of place it like this on their head a bit. That's really comforting. But I like to usually just place it on the shoulders like this. And you could even put some essential oils in the towel just for that added little sensory experience for the client to make sure that they're feeling just nice and uplifted while also being relaxed at the end of the treatment. Ones that I like are mint, lavender, and cedarwood. You could also do some nice little squeezing of the upper traps, just nice and gentle with the hot towel. And finally, finish the treatment as you started by placing your hands on the sides of their head and getting them to take 3 deep breaths in through the nose and out through the nose. And this is a really nice way of finishing the treatment and making the person feel very grounded at the end of the treatment. And after you're done, just slowly lift your hands away.